bad and the weird. You either live by the gun or you die by the sword.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Weird podcast, MicroViews. I'm Nicho.
And I'm Chris.
And today we say no more to child murders. It's time for the child to use their mother in a almost biomechanical robot way to command them to commit murders while dealing with their own daddy issues.
Yeah.
That's right, we're doing Prevenge, and y'all probably thought I was thinking of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
We assume that you're always thinking about Evangelia, but that's okay.
Very similar plots, though.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, okay. This movie was nowhere on my radar when you had introduced it.
And I have a buddy from England, Tyler, in the Discord to thank for this one when I was trying to find female revenge movies. So this is where this one originally came from.
Okay, that makes sense because this movie is the blackest sheep of all of the movies we've talked about so far.
I wanted to do this because it's a little bit of the opposite, where we've been talking about people who murder children. Mm-hmm. Now it's the child's turn to take revenge in a different way.
Kind of, maybe, sort of. We'll get to it.
Yeah. So Prevenge, written, directed, and starring Alice Lowe as Ruth, and filmed while she was pregnant, too.
Yes, and her baby, starring as Baby Delilah at the end.
With Kayvon Novak as Zach and Joe Hartley as the midwife. It is about a woman who begins a homicidal rampage at the behest of her unborn child.
This was such a weird movie.
Yeah, so what was your thoughts on the initial concept of Prevenge?
The initial concept, I thought to myself, boy, someone had a quick idea and ran with it. And then I looked it up and I was right. Because here's the thing. This movie is technically a slasher, but more technically a dark comedy.
Yes, and it takes so it's a little bit of a mashup of genres.
It is.
So, one, we have a revenge movie.
We do, kind of, sort of.
But also we have there's these murderous children movies that are fascinating to begin with.
There is an entire genre of murder children movies, yeah.
But to make it unborn, it gives it this tinge of psychological drama to play off.
Yeah.
It's the age-old question of what wouldn't a mother do for her child?
Which is, I believe, the original tagline of this movie.
And it works so well with the dark humor of this movie.
And it is the most British dark humor to have ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. I watched this movie, and I watched this blind. I refused to do any real research before I watched it because I had no knowledge of this. And normally I've at least seen a preview. I've heard about someone, or like in my research it's come on across as a passing moment. I normally have at least a stepping stone to start with. I had nothing. I had no knowledge that this existed before I watched it. And I watched it and I got about 30 minutes in and I paused it and I thought to myself, this movie is a movie from a woman who is pregnant and nervous about that pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then I Googled, and I was fucking right.
Oh, and that's the thing, is like this movie, the reason I think it works so well is that it's so multi-layered. One, it starts off dealing with grief.
Yes, which, classic horror movie, we're gonna have someone be dead.
Revenge, the uncertainty of parenthood, and not just single parenthood, but unplanned single parenthood.
Yes.
And as well as there's little bits of like the possibility of your child being taken away with you.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's a line that the midwife says that I think is pretty good is, well, just so you know, you have absolutely no control over your mind or your body anymore. This one does. So it's also dealing with that lack of autonomy
mm-hmm.
as well as like this fear that you'll lose who you are as a person.
Absolutely.
And this loss of individuality as you begin to build your family.
Absolutely. And I think that this movie tries to do all of those things simultaneously, and it has to do them on a very tight timeline.
Yes.
Because when you are starring a pregnant person, you only have a very tiny window to get everything done.
Yeah, like a month of shooting. Because, like, she's 7 months pregnant in the movie.
Yeah.
So, like...
She has the smallest window possible to get this movie done.
Exactly. And I think that what shows is, like, it feels so concise and quickly put together.
It does feel quick. If I'm going to give a critique, the quickness of it feels like the one real downfall.
Yeah, there's some parts that lag a little bit for me.
Sure.
But for me, well, like, that may seem as, like, a little bit of unpolishing that the movie could have had to speed things up just a little bit. I think it works well with her lagging, or her own convictions as they begin to waver.
Sure. I think a lot of my critiques boil down to this was clearly written when she became pregnant. This was not a concept before that.
Yeah.
Which is fair. This is something that like is on her mind. It is something she's currently dealing with. Why not make a movie about it? Absolutely. This is a fun movie. But I do think that this is one of those fears that when you only have a couple of months to live full-time with, you're writing and thus then directing and then starring yourself in all of it leaves a very finite window of what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to see a little bit more expansion on that horror, which I think boils down to a loss of autonomy is the main horror of this movie.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't think it's the 100% the autonomy. It's a big part of it.
Absolutely.
But I think part of the issue, too, is that it does try dealing with a much larger scale of things. Like, it tries dealing with all... And maybe it tries to get
8 months worth of fear into an hour and a half.
But I think that's what works with it, too, is because it's such a tight time frame, is like, you have all these things that you have to deal with that you're constantly going through. I mean, just specifically, like, the very first murder.
Yeah.
With the creep and, like, his sexualization of her for no reason. Like,
yeah, he is weird.
But I think that works is, like, there's that little bit of... I know some women, when they go through pregnancy, they deal with that lack of, okay, well, I'm not going to be attractive anymore. I'm not beautiful. I'm a...
gross, sweaty, flat bob, yeah.
Yeah. But, like, the way they deal with that, too, especially with, like, the second guy, and it's the first two that really deal with the
physicality.
Yeah, the physicality, where the second guy is only after her because he likes fat chicks because they have, like, in a way, it feels like because they're the only women that he can get because he assumes they have a lesser standard.
Yeah, this is a movie that there's a lot of really interesting parts, and they have to play in with the weird guys, because that's who we're killing. We have to have somebody to kill, and that's who we're killing. But the weird guys are the weakest link to me, because they kind of shift in and out so lightly.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of get like, oh yeah, there was that guy. And oh yeah, there was the weird DJ. I forgot about the weird DJ.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people involved in the death of her husband on this climbing accident that I'm surprised he died, because they could have formed a small pyramid and caught him.
Well, no, he's hanging, so they couldn't have caught him.
That's the joke, is that there's too many people on this damn climbing expedition.
Yeah, and I think I get that too, is like, it is trying to, like I've said, tackling too many subjects, because it is. It's only the first two men that are weird. Like,
and then the rest kind of want to play with that, well, they seem to care, and that seems to nullify the desire to kill them.
Not even care, like, so, yeah, to a point, I'd say, like, the ones that are, they're so supportive when they can be, rather than, like, when they have to be supportive.
Sure.
The flatmates.
Yeah, the flatmate.
But then, like, the female lawyer serving as that symbolism of, like, the cost of business and the sacrifices one has to make to climb the corporate ladders without having children.
Yeah, this is a movie that has a ton of great commentary points. It just all happens really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
And I don't know... Don't get me wrong, I like British humor for the most part. And I generally like dark comedies for the most part. And I don't think anything in this was a miss. It just all happens so fast that I fail to remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
Which is... I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because I don't think Alice was out here trying to make, the next most depth-defying movie out there.
Yeah.
I think this was an experiment and an expression of something in her own life that she thought was fun. And she did a great job. I'm impressed she got this done in the amount of time that she had to work on it with the smallest budget known to man.
Well, and I think what you're getting at, too, is, like, there's not necessarily 100% lack of focus. I think the thing is that there's too much going on, and the only thing that really holds it together from just being a standard revenge story is the weird setup of the child commanding her to kill these people.
Yes. And that is the most interesting part of this movie, is her hearing the, like, supposed baby voice in her head this whole time. And it's clearly just her own voice in a slightly higher pitch.
Yeah.
Being like, no, you must kill him. Do it.
Well, and maybe you do bring up a good point, is that there's too many people and it's trying to cast too wide of a net.
This is something that I feel like we've covered on so many points in this, with the horrors of this, that normally a franchise would have covered.
Yeah.
Like, normally we would have, like, covered a couple of the fears in the first movie, a new fear in the third movie, and somehow, you know, the, like, ghost baby just follows different women around or
like
something.
Kill Bill.
Yes, exactly. Break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I get it. We didn't have room to break it up a little bit. Yeah, we had a month.
You've got one shot to make this movie. You're making the movie for what it is.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this is a great concept of a movie.
Yeah.
I love this. I think there's probably a tiny genre out there where, like, this sort of thing exists as far as, like, a depth and exploration of fears.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably be looking to see if there's any books that I can read, because this is also a very fun summary, like, sort of horror. It's British. There's a lot of coats because it's Britain, and I don't think y'all actually have summer there.
Hey, they will argue with you that, hey, it's 70-something, it's way too hot outside.
Oh, poor babies.
Yeah.
But I joke. But this movie has all of the tropes of a standard, like, summer, like, horror flick, where it's a slasher. There's a good bit of blood. There's some interesting kills that are, like, a little bit more fun or playful. There's the dark humor that kind of makes it more of, like, a poolside watch as opposed to, like, what I consider a winter horror, which usually involves a lot less humor to me.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to sit in my house and be horrified, I want to be afraid to turn the lights off at night.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the biggest things is, as it gets spread out, is that there's not really the other side of the tragedy. It's all through her.
Yeah, that is an interesting, like, setup.
Because, like, honestly, like, Tom, the climbing instructor, while the others are moved just a little, like, one of them is maybe moved a little bit, everyone else has moved on with their lives. He's the only one who seems to have any regrets of, like, what could he have done, but they don't do any focus on that. It's just like she meets him once and then she stalks him again at the end, and it's just like,
that is, and then we keep flashing back to her and her doctor, like, talking about generic stuff.
Well, I here's the thing, I don't think it's generic stuff. What it is the hospital is there to serve as kind of like this moral compass to her, and kind of this confrontational space, something that's supposed to be a reassuring space of, hey, they're going to check on the child's fine. Instead, it ends up being like, she hasn't given them the right information. She's also talking about, like, they're talking about, like, hey, we might be taking your child away, and that becomes a little bit more of the pressure on her rather than, like, really I get what you're saying, though. It feels like these abrupt intercuts between the murders instead of, like, because that's the thing, is, like, we really don't hear the child talk to her too much outside of, hey, you screwed up, hey, you need to go after her.
Yeah.
It starts off, like, a little bit psychological, but it doesn't really dive into the heaviness that could have been of, like, the child more compelling her to murder rather than, like, the mom's planning everything out. And then the child makes a little bit of commentary here and there. Yes.
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Where there's so many fun or interesting ideas happening all simultaneously in this movie. And to get them all to fit in, we have to sacrifice something. And to me, the thing that felt like the oddball out was the hospital visits and the hospital threats. Where none of that seemed to really, like, play in with what we were just talking about. Or it didn't really seem to play in with what I would be concerned about, like, hey, I can hear my baby talking to me in my head. Am I missing a vitamin? Should I be stretching more? Why is that? Yeah. That doesn't seem normal. So, it feels like that was, like, the part that, like, well, we don't have time to explore all of this happening.
It doesn't make the child talking to her seem weird at all. It just feels like, okay, this is what it is.
She accepts psychosis so quickly.
Yeah.
And I would love to know more about that, but we don't get any.
No. Well, and I think the other thing too, with spoiling the ending a little bit, I think it
the ultimate twist at the end I did love. I thought it was cute and fun.
What, that was all in her head?
Yeah. I think it's a fun little twist, because, honestly, don't be wrong, I think a 4-part miniseries about this, like, you know, pregnant psychotic killer would be fun. But we don't have that. Baby's here.
Yeah, that's the thing, is, like, this whole catharsis with the female revenge just doesn't work, because while, yes, she ultimately gets her revenge and she's consumed with it by the end, turning into the creatures in the vampire movie she's watching. Sure. The reason it doesn't feel good is because, well, one, I think it's the logical end. I mean, the cops are eventually going to find it. Like,
absolutely.
How are these victims all tied to each other?
Like, it's going to get solved, for sure.
The tragedy is like, ultimately there's now 2 children left without a father.
Yes,
and when one without a mother as well. So it's like, it's all this is all consuming rage that really doesn't feel like it works out in the end. It's just like, okay, well, we had to end the movie somehow.
I agree, and I think my one final, like, offbeatness, I think, to this movie is that this movie goes out of its way to show that the main character, Ruth, has a deep interest in a very specific type of vampire film. Vampire films are not usually revenge stories. Usually they are monster films. And so it's kind of implying that she sees herself as a monster. Yeah. Which is fun, but does take a hard left turn from what the rest of this movie is trying to say about her getting revenge on her husband's unfair death.
Yeah, and I think that's the other issue, is the revenge feels a little half-baked because we don't know all the events other than, like, they had to cut him loose. And it's like, well, that was the dangers of it, of, like, it's an accident that she turns into an even bigger tragedy than anything. Yeah, yes. The first couple guys, slimy, but...
Yeah, but they technically didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. Technically they are fine. Like, they can have opinions on you and like, they don't know you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
I think that's the biggest thing, is like, while this movie is very much so about the female anger and revenge,
it has anger for sure.
Is that justified? Anger is the issue.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where I do think one of the fears, and, like, I couldn't find a ton of, like, information talking a ton about, like, the in-depthness. Like, there's plenty about her talking about this film. But, like, as far as, like, picking out certain fears, one of the fears that is a bit of a running joke on the internet is that the only men who go do dumb extreme sports are ones with, like, happily married with a baby.
Oh, yeah, the cave divers.
Cave diving. This kind of has a little bit of, like, a similar situation. Like, oh, I'm so happily married and I have a baby on the way. Let me go extreme rock climbing.
Yeah, it's not her husband's fault. It's the world's fault.
Yeah, and so this is one of those movies where there's so many cool and interesting points. I do think it's incredible that she managed to write, direct, and star in this all while pregnant. Like, kudos. This is very cool. I do want her to now write, like, a 4-part book series about Ruth to then explain on some of these horrors a little bit more. Because I think she touched on a lot of very real, like, scares for a lot of women on why pregnancy is scary.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And I would love to see these, like, expanded upon more. She clearly has a great sense of humor. There's a lot of very funny moments in this. Her horror is very good. She's got great styling. More. I want more.
Yeah, I wanted to really embrace the subject matter more so than it does, because at times you do kind of forget that she is pregnant. Like, I mean, it's present through most of the movie, but, like,
she is a very thin pregnant woman. Learning that this was her at 7 months, I was like, wow, you go, girl.
I am so happy for you. Yeah. I mean, it's just. That's my issue for it, is that
she's a very mobile pregnant lady. Go, good for you.
She doesn't have the waddle yet.
No, and you know what? Her feet are still fitting in her shoes. I'm so happy for her.
But it doesn't dive into, like, I that's the one thing I don't feel it dives into her anxiety as much. It covers those topics.
It covers it.
But
it lightly brushes everything.
Yeah, but it's not her inner monologue or even the baby's monologue.
No, it's a lot left up to the audience to kind of decipher. Fun, but I can tell that she can do more.
Yeah, I want something a little bit more concise along the lines of, like, the menu.
Oh, absolutely. And so I think I'm going to be adding her to my list of directors to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Because this movie impressed me. I enjoyed the hell out of this. But I also think that I can see her doing bigger, more in-depth stuff.
You can see the greater vision of what she could do.
Absolutely. Like, she had a lot of fantastic points and very, like, well-written, very funny. But I can also see where we could get, like, even bigger.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's a very good starting spot. Just, it needed a little bit more to really push it into that level of a greater horror film.
And it's one of those things where, like, when you are on a time crunch, when you want to use your pregnant self as the actor, and you are now like, oh god, now I have X amount of months to write it. Again, incredibly impressive that this is what you produced.
Yeah.
I am excited to see what is next.
Very much so.
When we're not under a time crunch.
So then, Chris, rent by streamer declined that we ever watched Prevenge despite having an audio recording of us watching it.
We have the DVD. You have the DVD.
I love how you refer to my DVD collection as we.
I consider you my library.
I mean, fair.
And so we've talked in depth about how I feel about a DVD and whether or not that it is worth my buying. Is that DVD needs to have more to it for the most part. This DVD doesn't have a whole lot. I'm sorry. I was really hoping for, like, some really good in-depth conversations from her or some behind the scenes, and it just doesn't. It's not there yet. I get it. So I would probably rent this. I would definitely stream this.
Yeah, I think it's on Tubi.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I rewatched it, like, on the way. Not here, but, like, while I was out commuting for work this week, I rewatched it, so.
I get you.
It is, for sure, a definite stream. If you're interested, I think it is worth the rent, but I can see how this is not everyone's idea of a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm in the field of buy, even
That's
despite
fair.
having the DVD
Your
of it.
standard is much lower on a DVD than mine.
I
want a fun interactive menu.
Yeah, I think it's a good time and it tackles a difficult subject matter that, honestly, I would like to rewatch a couple times to get see a little bit more of the nuances. And
oh, sure.
Maybe I think it does. Maybe I'll think it does an even better job than I originally thought because, like I said, it has so much going on for it that I probably missed a thing or two. So. Oh,
absolutely. I do think this is one that you can definitely watch it several times.
Very much so. But that's our little reprieve from child murders.
Kind of child murders.
Yeah. I mean, child murder.
Murder and children.
Yes.
Happening in the same movie.
But get ready as we get a little bit more back to school-ish and we're coming for you.
One might argue we're still in the children murder section, depending on how old these kids are.
Yeah. I mean, technically, if they're under their parents' roof,
they're children.
There's children murder coming up.
Yeah, we're back in the house again, damn it.
Anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird MicroViews.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. Thank you for stopping by this here town of the Good, the Bad, and the Weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always, check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace.